Stigma kills more people than fentanyl alone because silence keeps families from seeking help. If we don't break that silence, we'll keep burying our kids. Welcome to Logan's Voice. My name is Doug, and I'm Logan's dad. Before we dive in, I want to ask you to do three quick things that really help us spread this message. Hit subscribe and click that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Leave us a comment below. Tell me your thoughts, your story, or even just that you're here. I read every single one of those. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Your engagement helps push this conversation out into the world where it can save lives. I want to start today by talking about stigma because it is every bit as deadly as the drugs we're fighting. When my son Logan was young, he was diagnosed with ADHD. From an early age, he learned the message, something's wrong with you. Take this pill to fix it. That's how stigma starts. Society labels, and kids carry those labels into adulthood. As Logan grew older, he began to struggle more. The world didn't see him as a whole person. They saw him as a problem. They saw him as troubled. And that's what stigma does. It reduces a complex human being into a single word or stereotype. But Logan was so much more. He was funny, compassionate, smart, and creative. He loved music. He loved family traditions. He was my son. I'll never forget one moment that showed me just how powerful it is when stigma is replaced with compassion. After Logan passed, I found a letter written by Miss Angie, one he had held on to for all those years. She was one of his teachers. She saw him not just as his struggles, but his gifts. She wrote about how every student deserves to be valued, even if they don't fit the mold. That letter is one of the most precious things I have because it reminded me Logan mattered. He wasn't disposable. But too many families don't get that compassion. Too many parents are silent because they're afraid of what others will say if they admit their child is struggling. And too many kids hide their pain because they don't want to be judged. That's the deadly power of stigma. It isolates, it shames, it keeps people from reaching for help. So let's talk about why stigma literally kills. First, stigma makes people suffer in silence. If you're worried that neighbors, coworkers, or even your church community will judge you, you're far less likely to speak openly about addiction in your home. That silence delays intervention until it's too late. Second, stigma stops people from seeking treatment. When addiction is framed as a moral failure instead of a disease, people are made to feel unworthy of help. Imagine having a heart attack and being told, well, you shouldn't have eaten fried food. That's your own fault. That would be unthinkable. But that's exactly how people with substance use disorder are treated. Third, stigma impacts policy. Politicians are less likely to fund recovery services, harm reduction, or treatment programs if they think the public views addiction as a choice or a crime instead of a public health issue. Stigma literally translates into fewer resources and more lives lost. And finally, stigma destroys families. It tells parents, you failed. It tells siblings, your brother is an embarrassment. It tells children, your parent doesn't deserve compassion. That poison doesn't just hurt the person struggling, it ripples outward to everyone who loves them. But here's the truth. When we talk openly, stigma loses its grip. When we tell our stories, someone else hears, I'm not alone. And when we fight stigma with compassion and facts, lives are saved. People feel safe enough to ask for help. Families feel strong enough to speak out. Communities begin to change. I've seen it happen. Every time I stand up and say, I am Logan's voice, I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent, someone comes up afterwards and says, me too. My family is going through this. That connection is the antidote to stigma. So here's what I want from you today. If you've ever been touched by stigma, if you've felt judged, if you've hidden your struggle, if you've lost someone you love, please share your story in the comments. Every time one of us speaks, we chip away at the silence. And remember, visit logansvoice.org for resources, education, and ways to get involved. And please share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we break stigma. Together, we save lives. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.